Hey folks, the cap is still on because my hair is still growing out and in that weird awkward in-between stage that I don't really like. So anyway, that's why I'm wearing my cap. I'm shooting this on the new Sony ZV-1 camera, which is actually pretty unique in that it's pretty good for YouTubers and vloggers. It has a couple features that are really cool. One is called Product Showcase, where you can actually take a product, this is the Audiophile hip DAC, and you can bring it right up to the camera and it should focus right on it, like to show, you know, automatically without you having to like go like this or anything like that. You know, you can do close-ups and stuff like that. So that's really cool. That'll probably be really good because, you know, like a lot of those YouTubers, like especially those people who do makeup, like the beauty vloggers, you know, they're always having to they're showing their makeup on YouTube and they're always having to go like that in front of the camera, you know, to get it to focus. It also has a defocus mode, which isn't on right now, but if you have like something in the background, which I don't have much in the background here, but if you have something in the background, you can press that mode on and it'll defocus the background and make the image look kind of cool, you know, more bokeh in the background. It'll make it look more professional and more like a DSLR. So that's pretty cool. And then the other thing is this camera also comes with this little, what they call dead cat, which is a microphone windscreen that actually plugs right into the hot shoe on the camera and covers the microphones, which also, by the way, the microphones are supposed to be better too. They're kind of more optimized for audio. But this plugs right in and helps avoid wind noise, so that's really cool as well. And then another thing on this camera is that the autofocus on this camera is super fast and accurate. So like you can set it, it'll track your face and you'll always just be in focus like when you're vlogging and stuff like that. One thing about this camera that a lot of people don't like is it's only 24 millimeters on the wide end. And a lot of people say that that's not quite wide enough for vlogging, like for just holding the camera in your hand and just walking around. And then when you turn image stabilization on, it also even crops in further. And it also crops in a little bit too when you're doing 4K versus 1080. So you're looking at like a 30 millimeter or even a little bit above that lens, you know, when you're doing that. So you're probably going to want to use like a selfie stick or like a mini tripod that kind of extends when you're vlogging with this camera, so that you can kind of hold it like this but still be a little bit further away, so that you can kind of get your face, you know, down to maybe your chest in the shot. Because if you're just holding it with your hand like this up to your face, it's just going to be all face, and that's a little bit not wide enough, if that makes any sense for vlogging purposes. Now, I don't vlog that much, but just for shooting my normal YouTube videos, I think this camera is going to do a great job. I think 24 millimeters for my purposes is probably just fine, and all of the mix of all of the other features that this camera has is, you know, really pretty good and something that I like. So let's get to the real topic of this video, and that is, why am I an audiophile? And first of all, let me say that I am not an audiophile. I do not consider myself an audiophile. I consider myself a music lover. To me, an audiophile is somebody that listens to equipment and music is secondary, whereas I'm like the opposite. For me, the music is the main thing and the equipment is secondary. You know, there's a lot of audiophiles out there, or people, you know, when I think of the word audiophile, I think of the people out there that just listen to their equipment. They get a new piece of equipment, headphones or speakers or an amp or whatever, and they just sit there and go, yeah, you know, these speakers sound so good. I love these speakers. Yeah, they sound good no matter what I play through them. Yeah, they're just awesome. You know, they're just listening to the speakers. They're listening to the equipment. And again, the music is secondary. Whereas for me, it's about the music. I'm listening to the music, and the equipment just helps me facilitate the listening of that music. So for me, I'm listening to the music and I don't really care if the equipment is super expensive or whatever. If it sounds good, it sounds good. I can enjoy a song equally, you know, from like $400 headphones as opposed to $4,000 headphones. I can enjoy the song equally, as long as it's producing the song in a way that makes the music sound really good and facilitates my enjoyment of that music. So that's kind of the difference for me between a music lover and an audiophile, and I definitely consider myself a music lover. I'm not really an audiophile because I'm not as focused on the equipment as I am on the music. That being said, of course, good equipment does help facilitate the enjoyment and the conveyance of that music, you know, to a greater extent than, you know, crappy or lower cost equipment. But there are gems in probably every price range, and that's really what I kind of look for and try to focus on with regards to stuff that I purchase. I like to focus on the gems in different price points for the most optimal equipment acquisition, so to speak, if that makes any sense. And why is it that I like music so much? Why am I a music lover? For me, I think the main reason is because it is like an addictive drug that's good for you. So it's something that you can keep returning to, and it elevates your mood, and can be a de-stressor. Like after work or whatever, if you've had a very stressful day, throwing on some music can completely, erase that stress. And it's something that I think really does heal the mind and the body and the soul, so to speak. It's also something that you can keep returning to over and over again. You can keep playing the same song if it's a song that you really like thousands of times, and you'll never get bored of that. And I think that's really unique. There are very few other things that you can return to thousands of times over the course of your life and not really be bored. I don't think movies are the same thing. I mean, yeah, you can watch movies a couple of times or several times and enjoy it, but it's not the same thing. You're not going to get, it's not going to be, a piece of music that you really like is going to stir something in you the same way every single time, thousands of times, every time you play it, whereas other art forms aren't really going to do that. And also, speaking back to the equipment aspect, it's not even about the equipment, because if it's a song that you really like or that's meaningful to you, it could be playing on a transistor radio or a clock radio in the background, and you'll stop everything that you're doing and you'll rock out to it, if it's a song that you really like. So that's kind of unique about music in that respect. Or it could be like a couple driving in the car and their song will come on, and then that'll remind them of the first time they met, and it'll stir something inside of them. So music is very unique in that respect. But yeah, it can be a mood elevator, but it can also help you de-stress. And depending on what music it is, it can not only de-stress you, but can also motivate you as well. There are certain music that you would play like while you're working out, or before you work out, or before you go on a run, or while you're running or something like that, that's going to motivate you to keep going or going to get you pumped up. So it's really interesting. It's very multifaceted, and there's just a lot to music that I really enjoy. It's also kind of an escape as well, maybe escape from your real world, escape from reality in a way as well, and kind of brings you into another world, in some respects. By the way, the gardeners just started weed whacking outside, so if you hear that background noise, that's what it is. But yeah, especially if it's like a concept album, you can put on that concept album and just be completely taken away from your life and your real world, and just be thrown into this concept album and taken on this amazing journey, which is just really cool. And even be told a story. Many operas are that way. They tell a complete life story, life and death story even. Or even like rock musicals like The Who's Tommy or Green Day's American Idiot, things like that can tell a complete story with an arc and everything. It just kind of takes you away into that world. So I really do get a lot of enjoyment from music, and I have to say that I probably spend a more larger portion of my income towards music and music-related things than a lot of people that I know. And also during this shelter-in-place COVID, stay-at-home time, music has really been a saving grace for me more than almost any other medium. Yes, I've read more books and I've watched more movies, but music has been the thing that's sort of kept me sane from having to stay at home a lot. And I can honestly say that music has gotten me through a lot of other hard times in my life as well. And it's something that is just really important to me and that I get a lot of enjoyment out of. And if you enjoy music, I would actually encourage you to spend money on music too, maybe more so than you're doing now, because it will really bring you that enjoyment and is actually really worth it. So yeah, as I mentioned, the gardeners are outside doing their weed whacking and leaf blowing, and it's super noisy. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video here. And if you're interested in checking out this Sony ZV-1 camera that I'm shooting on here, I'll go ahead and post a link in the description field. And if you have any comments or feedback on being an audiophile versus being a music lover or whatever, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Go ahead and leave a comment. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.